Don't limit yourself. Remember to be yourself. I remember to believe in yourself. Because without those three things, I think even if persons are pushing you and persons are there rooting you on, you won't make it. You won't make it. It all starts with you.
Hello and welcome to the International Student Experience, the Swansea University podcast where we delve into the stories and journeys of students from around the world who've chosen to study here in the UK. Today I'm joined by Joshua Benn. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. If we can just start by telling us who you are, where you're from, what your educational journey to get to Swansea was.
Sure. Well, I'm a Chevening scholar, first of all, and I'm an attorney at law. So I'm here at Swansea University, all the way from Guyana in South America, and I'm just pursuing LLM in oil, gas, and renewable energy law.
Awesome. So Chevening, how did you find that? Because that's quite a prestigious scholarship. How were you made aware of it?
Well, to be honest, I have an uncle. He would usually push me, and that's how I actually became aware of Chevening. Because every time the applications would become open, he would drop me a little message on WhatsApp or whatever, like, Chevening is open, you should apply for it. And the first time he actually sent me it, I was clueless about what was Chevening. So I did some research, and I was like, no, this is too much. Like, I don't even think I can get this, scholarship. And the practice would continue year after year. And what happened is in 2022, I actually completed my first master's, and I'm thinking to myself, this is it. I'm ready. I'm done studying, So I posted on social media that I completed my first master's, and ping, my phone goes. He's like, congratulations, but Chevening is open, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's not going to give me a break. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So I told him, I was like, thank you for sending it to me. I'm going to apply this time. And he was like, that's it. No harm in getting 2 masters. Because funnily enough, I have 2 degrees too, 2 undergraduates.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 2 of them. So, no harm in going for a second master's as well. So I just went for it.
So you got 2 masters. Well, you will have 2 masters.
Yeah.
And 2 undergrad degrees. What have your studies all been in?
Well, the first undergrad I've gotten is sociology. And then I did law. And then I went to Trinidad and Tobago, where I spent 2 years to complete the law aspect of my degree before I became admitted to the bar in Guyana.
Okay. And then your first master's?
My first master's is in international law and treaty law.
Okay. So have you always had an interest in law then? I can see where the crossover of sociology and law is, but what put you down that path?
Growing up, I'm always seen as argumentative. I'm always seen as somebody defending others,
Okay.
So those around me, my parents, my family members, they would always tell me, you would be good as a lawyer, You're always arguing with somebody, you're always defending somebody. So why don't you just go and study law? I got sidetracked a bit after my sociology degree because, I'm young. You just finished your degree looking for some money. So I went to work. And then after the first year of work, I was like, I don't think I like what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I reverted to my passion, which was law, which was and is law. And I just went back to school at that point. Yeah.
Where were you working for a year? What didn't work for you? Why wasn't it passionate for you?
Well, it was actually at a company called Neil and Massey. And it's kind of more like business oriented. So you're just in front of a desk all day and you're punching in stuff and, just this whole business aspect. And I didn't really like it. It was boring to me. It was just a routine, a daily routine. It was not challenging, because I'm argumentative, right? I like to challenge and I like to defend. So just being there, sitting, it was kind of boring to me. So after the year, I kind of decided that, this is not going to work. And then the money, and I'm not going to lie, the money wasn't very enticing after the year. I'm like, do I really want to spend my life doing this and working for this? So I, went back to the passion.
And you went back into law.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I went back into law.
So what attracted you to it's oil and gas and commercial law at the moment? What attracted you to that?
Well, the thing is, Guyana, where I'm from, we recently, or since 2015, we discovered that we have this large quantity of oil offshore that we can extract and make some money off of. And it's a blooming industry right now in Guyana. And there is a deficit I wouldn't call it a huge deficit, but there is a deficit of legal minds within the oil and gas industry. So I thought that I can be able to come and gain some knowledge about it and go back home and help develop that in that area as relates to the legal aspect of the oil and gas industry.
Okay. So it's you're doing it so you can be here, but also be able to take something home.
Correct, exactly. So I can take back the knowledge that I've gained from these studies that I'm doing, and also the UK in general, because UK has a lot of experience in the oil and gas industry. So I can learn from the experiences and also learn from the theoretical part of it, take it back home, and engage.
Yeah. How's it going? Have you enjoyed? Have you found those skills? Have you found the knowledge that you've been able to that you will be able to take back?
Exactly. Yeah. I found a lot. I mean, the course is very robust. It's very heavy. A lot of knowledge being imparted, and I think that it's setting me on the right path. A lot of knowledge I've gained, and I believe that I can take it, not only use it in the legal aspect, but I'm also learning like the policy aspects, the commercial aspects of it. So I'm learning even more than I wanted to even learn. I even anticipated that I would learn.
So I just want to backtrack a second.
Yeah,
So
sure.
your uncle, who was texting you, messaging you like every year about Chevening, what was his response when you told him that you'd applied?
Yeah.
And then you were successful.
Well, he was actually overwhelmed. He was happy for me. In fact, even during the process of applying, everything, he even hooked me up with people to coach me for the interview because, Chevening is a different caliber of its own. And there are certain skill sets that you have to develop because you may be very well qualified, but you have to set yourself apart from everyone else that is applying because you can imagine the number of applications that go into Chevening each year.
Oh, yeah.
So he actually hooked me up with some past scholars that were able to help me, not only with the written application, but the interview as well. So he played a very integral part of my process in becoming a chief.
How challenging was it for you? Like, did it push you, and were you pleased with what you were able to submit?
Well, it really pushed me. I'm not gonna lie. This was the most difficult application I've ever done, Chevening, and it really tested my patience and my resilience because applications opened like in August, and you had like until November to submit your application. And then I remember vividly having to put my thoughts together for the essays part because you have to write like 4 essays and they have to be very detailed because you have like a word limit, detailed, specific, and to the point. You got to be able to capture the minds of the readers that are going to be reading your essays. So that was very, very intense. Not so much intense because the knowledge was lacking, but the fact that you had to put it all together in so little, little words. And, I got a lot of help from past scholars, and not only from Guyana, but I have other colleagues from across the Caribbean as well that were scholars, and they were able to help me review my essays, help me to get it, pinpoint the areas that I really want to focus on and get my, my story over because that's very important. And I think it helped me also to be able to sell myself better because sometimes you try to be a little bit humble and you don't really express yourself too much in the writing. And, they were like, what is this? What is this you're submitting? Like, you've done so much. You need to put it out there, let them know who you are. So it was an eye opener. It helped me to really see myself from a different perspective as well. And the interview, the same thing. The interview was I had fun in the interview. I won't lie. I was a bit nervous.
It's not very often someone says that.
Yeah, it's not very often, right? I mean, the interview was nice. The interviewers, they were very, very calm, relaxing. They were very engaging. They made it feel as though I was at like a coffee shop. So it's just basically you selling yourself in a very relaxed environment.
Okay. It was good. Okay. How did you find all those other scholars from in your country and around the world? How did you physically find them to help you? Like, was it through your uncle, or was it through Chevening, or did you just look yourself?
Well, the person that helped me with the written application, funnily enough, he is a colleague that I met in Trinidad and Tobago. And we used to share ideas from since in Trinidad and Tobago about schoolwork and stuff like that. So we ended up following each other on LinkedIn. So he would also see my accomplishments, my work accomplishments when I completed my first master's and stuff like that. So at the same time, my uncle messaged me like a day or so after. He also messaged me on LinkedIn. And he was like, you know what? I think you would be a perfect fit for Chevening because both him and his brother, they're both scholars, past scholars. So he messaged me, he's like, I think you'd be a great fit for Chevening. So I'm like, interestingly enough, I'm actually applying. He's like, I'll help you with the application. So he was one that helped me with the written part, and then he found other colleagues to review it as well. So that's how, it's all about networking. That's how I was able to get, past scholars to come on board. And then when the interview came around, my uncle found past scholars from Guyana, and they reached out to me and I reached out to them, and we kind of like networked, and then we had like a mock interview. So that's how the whole network kind of like came around and came about. Yeah.
How different do you think it would have gone if you hadn't been able to do those networks? How different do you think you would have found the whole application if you were just doing it on your own? Like, was there a lot of value to those networks?
Yeah, a lot of value, a lot of value. I mean, I've known people that would have applied twice, or sometimes 3 times, and they've been unsuccessful. I think the network and the ability to have persons help you is very, 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 very valuable, because it's not something that you can take for granted. I mean, we all have different styles of writing, different styles of expressing ourselves, but when it comes to certain applications and certain interviews, there are certain tactical aspects of it, and only person that would have been through that can really show you that side of what is required. And I think that added value to my written application and the interview as well. So without that, I don't think I would have made it. To be honest with you, it's very, very, very important to network, and that's what Chevening is about. So even before you become a Chevener, you have to understand the value of networking, because it adds value to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a lot of Chevening scholars in my time, and what is really funny is everyone always says, "Oh, this other person who was a scholar told me you would be fit for this. This is fit for you." And that seems to be everyone who goes through it is incredibly passionate about it.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be that person? Like 10 years from now, you'll be telling people, apply for this, apply for this, apply for this.
Yeah, in fact, I've already started. I've already started. And even in this round that just ended, I ran some mock interviews myself with some prospective Cheveners. So, because they would see that I have attained it, and they reached out, and, we formed a bond, and I was like, I can help you. And they, accepted the help, and we did some mock interviews. I helped them with the applications, stuff like that. So I've already started.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
There's such an incredible energy and pay it forward energy with
Definitely.
with Chevening and the scholars.
Definitely.
It's incredible to see, and to see that continuing then. When it comes to networks, were you able to lean on those networks for advice or help for when you first then came to the UK? Because obviously you traveled before. How many places have you traveled to? Like, because a lot of people, when I speak to them, and when they come here, that's like the first time they've gone outside of the UK, outside of their home country, the first time they've come here. Where else had you been, like, in the world? Where else have you traveled to?
That's a very interesting question. I don't get asked that question a lot. But yeah, I've actually been to Trinidad and Tobago. I've lived there for 2 years. I've lived in Germany for 9 months. Well, I've been to the UK before. I've been to Bermuda. That's the word I'm looking for. I've been to Jamaica, been to the United States of America, been to Singapore.
Were those for work, study, pleasure?
A lot of them pleasure, but I've studied in Trinidad and Tobago. I've worked in Germany, and I've attended some courses in Singapore.
Okay. How do those all compare to the UK? Like, what was it about the UK that brought you here?
I think the class of education, the level of education, I mean, it's second to none. I found that the UK, the education that they offer is stellar, and I believe that Swansea in particular, Swansea University in particular, the course that they offer and the content of the course, I found that to be very, very, very robust. I found it to be very interesting, and I believe that it offers the value that I'm looking for.
Was that in the back of your mind when you were looking for somewhere to study? How did that affect your decision to actually come to Swansea? Like, when did you decide, like, Swansea University, that's where I'm going to go study my law, LLM?
Well, I really like dispute settlement. And when I looked at the modules that Swansea was offering, I noticed arbitration. And I love it. I love arbitration. Right? And what was a plus is that when you complete the arbitration module, you have a chance to become a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. And I found that to be very, very interesting, and that's a plus, because usually they would require you to write some exams or actually work with someone like for 6 months and stuff like that. So being able to actually become a member through studying, it's a win. It's a win-win, because I come up with an LLM and I also come up with membership. So, I mean, we can't go wrong. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And then what I noticed with Swansea, which is different from the other universities that I perused, is that they actually run the modules year long. So that's what really, drew me here.
Okay, so when you did come here then, like, how have you found Swansea? Like, how have you found not just the university, but like the locale, the people, the community? How has that been for you?
The community is very, very warm and welcoming. Not like the weather, but the community, the people, I found it to be very, very good, very, very welcoming. It reminds me a lot of home, actually, because, where I'm from, Guyana, we have the exact thing Swansea has, like the seawalls. We call it seawall,
Yeah.
but you guys call it a beach.
Okay.
With the whole city fence and everything.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, wow, am I in Georgetown? Because it looked exactly the same. So, and it really, as it relates to like the environment, like the shopping center, the city center, all those, they bring back, memories of home and stuff like that. So it's really like, really close to home. But the weather, oh man, it's different. It's different. It's different.
We do have our own specific
Yeah.
type of climate. Don't worry. Obviously, you travelled before, so
Yeah.
it wasn't your first time away from home. But do you think then coming to Swansea and having that very similar vibe, do you think that would have then helped if you'd never been outside of Georgetown before? If you'd never been away from home, do you think it would have helped you settle in a bit more? Because I think a lot of people, when they think of coming to study in the UK, they assume everywhere is like London.
Yeah.
Like, it's super busy, it's super big, it's super, everything is going on. But it's a very different vibe here in Wales, especially in Swansea. Do you think that vibe can help people settle in a lot more, and the people as well?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I have never left Guyana before, especially where I'm from, where I reside now in the East Bank, it's very quiet and rural, So if I have never left and I came here for the first time, I think it would have helped. The environment would have helped, especially walks along the beaches. That would have helped. The people, the community itself, it would have helped me. I mean, it's quiet, it's safe, and everything is just really just chilled, just chilled. Yeah.
Weather notwithstanding, like forgetting weather, what would you say your biggest challenges to adjusting to Swansea life have been? Like, what have you had to overcome while you've been here?
It would be the clothing, my closet. I had to change like most of it, especially because I came around when it was actually like coming into winter. Where I'm from is tropical. We have a lot of sun and rain, but no cold. So even though, we have, Swansea has rain too, but, it comes with a cold. So I can't really wear my normal clothing that I will wear back home. Only now I'm beginning to like wear long sleeve like this and stuff, like tent stuff. But I had to like buy a lot of sweaters, had to buy jackets, and stuff like that. So that was my biggest challenge per se.
What have your like living situation looked like? What's that been like since you've been here?
Well, actually, finding accommodation was not too difficult again, because I started that process even before I came here, because of the many online outlets that they have offering apartment and stuff like that. The apartment is not really too bad. I mean, I'm on my own. I believe it helps because I've lived like that before out of Guyana. I lived in Trinidad and Tobago. I've lived in Germany. So I think that helped a bit, that being away from home and just being a different environment, a different space, like getting up in a different space. I think that helped a lot. Yeah.
So it's interesting you mentioned that you were looking into accommodation before you came here. Was there anything else you looked into before you came here? Did you reach out to any other departments or any people? Like how much work did you do before you came here?
A lot of work. I mean, I messaged university about it, and they like referred me to some like private accommodation, because The thing is, I'm with my wife here. I came
Oh,
with
okay.
my wife,
Right.
so I had to find accommodation that's suitable for both of us. Right away, they referred me to like
Yeah.
private accommodation, so that helped, and I was able to reach out to some agencies, some agents, and they were able to refer me, and we found the right apartment eventually.
Did you meet up or speak to any of the other Chevening scholars before you came here, or any classmates or lecturers?
Well, as related to Shifting Scholars, I actually joined a group, but then I left it because they were giving me anxiety.
Oh, right.
Because, everybody is waiting for the results and stuff like
Right, right,
that.
right.
So, like, they would be messaging in a group, and you remember they're from different countries and stuff. So, like, when another country get their results, you hear some person get rejected. So, like, the anxiety was too
Yeah.
much. So, like, I came out to the group. But when I came here, we reconnected because I would have been to some events. Some would have been put on by the university, some put on by Chevening itself. So you'll be able to connect with Chevening scholars when you come here, and you have like a community. Classmates, no, I only met classmates when I came here. Lecturers, not really.
Okay.
Everything really when I came to Swansea itself. Yeah.
Have you been able to like develop those relationships while you've been here? Like, how do you get on with your lecturers?
Well, for the most part, most of them know me because I ask so many questions. I'm very, very, I won't say talkative, but I'm very inquisitive. I like to ask a lot of questions because I like to make sure I leave with a good understanding of what would have been taught. So the relationship with the lecturers are good. Interestingly enough, they've paired us with at least one lecturer. Each student has a lecturer that in the form of a mentor. I, Professor Sarah, so he's my mentor. So the relationship with him is very good. We meet, we discuss things. He offers advice, and generally it's just a vibe over there. It's just a vibe.
And you get on okay with them. You're having a good time.
So far, I mean, apart from the amount of work that we have to do, it's good.
And that's all been going okay because you're going into your exam period now.
Yeah.
How are you finding that?
Well, the preparation is kind of like different. It's kind of like tougher from what I'm used to, because generally, when exams are given in the Caribbean where I'm from, we usually like have like pinpointers, like what to expect in the exam, this general area, and then you have to figure out within that general area what is really gonna come. But here they want us to study like everything. So it's like very difficult. So it's like, but thankfully, they've always been telling us to prepare ahead of time. Like, don't wait till last minute, like reviewing notes or make your own notes. So that kind of helped, because had I waited until now to like prepare all the notes and stuff like that, I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's a lot.
So
It's a lot.
we've talked about your academic life a lot. What do you do outside of studying and asking questions? Like, what are you, like hobbies, societies? Like, how have you embraced living around here? Like, what do you get up to when you're not studying?
I love to eat, man. So I've been visiting a lot of eating places, restaurants, fast foods. I've been visiting a lot of those. Also, I like to play a lot of video games. So,
Okay.
fun fact about me, every time I travel, I take my video console with me. So I brought it to Swansea, and luckily enough, the apartment that I'm staying in, it was fitted with a TV, so a television. So I'm able to play my video games on my downtime too. And like I said, I have my wife here, so we take some walk along the beach and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's almost like having a slight home away from home, traveling with your console and your wife as well.
Exactly.
Have you been able to like share any sort of cultural traditions, any foods, anything from Guyana with any other classmates or housemates or any staff? Like, have you been able to bring Guyana with you other than with your console and your wife?
Well, not just yet with the sharing of food part, but I mean, I've been able to introduce them to Caribbean music. Like
Okay.
reggae, dancehall. I love music too. So like every time we meet up and like there's music, I will be like, you guys should really check out this music, check out that music. So I really love music. Music is really dear to me, and I share that a lot everywhere I go. But I'm able to tell them about things about Guyana. I'm able to tell them how we speak, because most times if I really speak like a Guyanese, people don't understand me. So I love to do that with people when I'm out. Show them our own unique dialect. We speak English, but we have this unique thing we do, which is called like Creole.
Okay.
Creolese.
Yeah.
We speak this Creolese. So like it's only like, it's kind of like hard for other persons to understand. So like I like to share that with persons every time I go out. Yeah.
Like, what are your favorite things to share?
Well, I'd be like, "What going on?
No, right,
What
yeah.
going on?" Well, I'm there, or we'd be like, "You dep on stupidness," you know. So I like to hear people say, "You dep on stupidness," because like is like when you try to say like you're not from like the Caribbean or Guyana, and you try to speak like proper, it sounds kind of like funny. So it kind of like sound like funny. It's like I like to ask people to like to repeat, "We get up on stupidness." Yeah.
I couldn't even do that. I'd need to see that written down, I think, and
Exactly,
then I could try and
exactly,
get it through phonetically.
exactly.
How have people responded to that? Like, do they respond well to it?
They find it funny. They find it funny. I'm like, what you saying? I don't understand. So like anytime I'm with my wife, right? Like we can like speak. We try to maintain our dialect and stuff like that. So this one time we were having this conversation because we were traveling from Swansea to London. So the bus ride is very long. So I kind of like forgot where I am because I'm speaking with her. And as soon as I got off the bus, I saw a familiar face, a colleague, a fellow Chevening, and I began to speak with her, but I forgot that I was still speaking like a Guyanese. She's like, "What? Sorry, I can't understand. I can't understand what you're saying." So yeah, that happens. That happens. Very difficult sometimes for persons to understand
Okay.
us. Yeah.
You mentioned music. Are you musical yourself, or do you just really like listening to music?
Funnily enough, I actually used to sing.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually used to sing. I have songs on YouTube and stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah, I
Really?
had a colleague back in Guyana, my friend. So we had this group, but we would do like dance kind of like music and
Right.
stuff
Right.
like
Right.
that. So I did that. I did that most of my teenage years.
Have you not been able to do that as much since you came over
Nah.
here?
Even before, like when work started and real life studying started, I had to like put that on pause. But like from time to time, we would still like perform and stuff like that.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, of course. I love music. Of course, of course.
It's so important to have hobbies and
Definitely.
pastimes and just something that gives you a little bit of breathing room
Definitely,
to
definitely.
disengage your brain from work
Definitely,
sometimes.
definitely.
How much value did you find that when you were a teenager? Like, what about that when you were a teenager really worked for you? Why were you so passionate about it?
Helped to bring out the creative side of me and it helped me to be expressive. I've always been expressive, as I told you. So, I mean, that was just a different way of me being expressive.
Yeah.
And, I really enjoyed it. And it brought a lot of connections with it. It helped me to inspire people as well, too. So I really found it to be very, enlightening. Yeah.
So you were networking and expressing yourself from relatively early then. And
Yeah.
it is a
Yeah.
skill, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. How has that helped with your career, do you think? Yeah, because creativity and law like don't always seem like they're going to go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah.
But you seem to have both sides.
Yeah.
Like, do you see any way where they do combine? Like, have you been able to? If you have been able to, like, have you been able to like see both sides of the coin, so to speak?
Yes, definitely. I mean, like, I have a natural gift of expressing myself. And part of that, I'm able to take complex things and transpose it into simpler things. And I've been able to do that with law. And like I said, people would notice that either I'm a lawyer or something like students, and they would reach out for certain explanations. I would explain things to them. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm kind of good at this. Why don't I like make a career off of it? I can make like an extra career off of it. So I started doing private tutoring. And now I'm actually a tutor at the University of Guyana. So I'm able to take my creative side because that involves some sort of creativity, helping people to understand things in a simpler form without losing the essence of it. So I'm able to take that side of me and transform it and use it in the terms of teaching others the law. So I'm able to do that. So I think that's it. And then apart from that, it also helps me in my public speaking and my delivery of the law when I'm either presenting in court or I'm in meetings and stuff like that. And it helps me to think outside of the box because, sometimes law is not really all about knowing case law or knowing the legislation, etc., etc. It's about actually coming up with ideas or being creative on the spot to solve problems because we're really just solvers of problems or problem solvers. That's what we are. So it helps.
Have you been able to do a lot of that? How much time do you get to spend on teaching and developing that skill and doing the tutoring for the University of Guyana? How much time are you allowed?
Once every week. Once every week, I do it like for 2 hours.
How does that work? Have you got like specific people that you see all the time? Or is
Yeah.
it kind of like a drop in?
No, it's like classes. So in Guyana, our law school is 3 years. So I teach the year 2 and year 3. those who do public international law and trade law. So I have a specific class that I deal with each and every week.
Okay. So you seem an incredibly busy person, and
Yeah.
you've done a lot before you came here. What's next for you? Like after you finish this, after you've got this second master's,
Yeah.
like what's next for you?
Well, like everyone else, I'm hoping to land this big job, this big job at some big corporation and work for a lot of money. But if that doesn't happen, I'm actually thinking about going into private practice now. Yeah, I love teaching, so I'm still gonna be teaching. But I think I want to venture out and try this private practice. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
And you do that back home in Guyana?
Yes, back home in Guyana.
Anything on the horizon yet? Or have you been looking, or are you still... You'll get through this section of your life first.
Yeah, let me get past the exams, man. and then I'll start looking. Let me get past the exams and then I'll start looking. Yeah.
Now that your uncle has successfully got you and hounded you, and
Yeah.
you've got through Chevening, is he going to be hounding you next for like, what are you doing next? What is next for you?
I don't think so. If not, I think I'll ignore him. I think I'll ignore him. I mean, I'm the first of my family to actually be a Chevener. My parents are proud, I've been making them proud all my life.
Yeah.
I think, so I think now is just, after this is just for me to really just like settle down and, I mean, persons are pushing me to do like a PhD and all that, but I don't know. Let's see how that goes.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Do you think you'd have found law independently?
I think I would have found it independently. My personality, it screams, it screams law. I think it screams law. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I think I would have found it eventually. Yeah.
If you were to give advice to someone from Guyana, from anywhere, who is considering either Chevening or coming to study in the UK, what advice would you give them? Like, what is the top 3 things you would tell them to do?
Yeah. Don't limit yourself. That was one. Be yourself. And you got to believe in yourself. Definitely. Those are the top 3 things. Don't limit yourself. Remember to be yourself. And remember to believe in yourself. Because without those 3 things, I think even if persons are pushing you and persons are there rooting you on, you won't make it. You won't make it. It all starts with you. Yeah.
One last question for me then. What is your proudest achievement in law? Like, what's the thing that you now look back on and think, I did that and I'm proud of myself?
Yeah, having my name being like written in a case like at the International Court of Justice, because I appeared there as an advisor to the government of Guyana in our case against Venezuela. So that's like the highlight of my career.
How did that come about?
After I completed law school, I was working at the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission. And at that time, we had the issue with Venezuela and all of that. And the government at that time heavily reliant on external lawyers, international lawyers. So they came up with a plan that they're going to like recruit like 3 young lawyers and have them work along with the international lawyers so that in time to come, they would not be so heavily reliant on the international lawyers. Things pop up. So when things pop up, they can rely on the local lawyers to like draft an opinion or stuff like that. So I was one of the 3 lawyers that they recruited. So we worked along with the international lawyers. We drafted advice, we did research, etc. So when the time came for the case to actually be heard, we were actually granted the opportunity to appear as advisors. So that's how that came about. Very extremely exciting, valuable, life-changing experience for me.
That's
so
amazing.
That's the highlight.
Were there any further opportunities that came from that? Like, where did that take you?
Well, funnily enough, you asked that question. That's networking again. I mean, through that, I was able to form a network with Professor Akavan. He was one of our international lawyers. And, I would constantly keep in contact with him. And when the opportunity arose for me to actually go to Germany, because I said I worked there like for 9 months, he was instrumental in that because he helped me to formulate my application and formulate the research proposal and stuff like that. So that really helped me, so the network that I formed during that time helped propel me and advance me in my career. So, yeah.
It seems like it's super important, and you've got to where you are through both networking and taking hold of every opportunity you possibly can.
Definitely.
And I suppose that's all you can do, isn't it? Like, if you don't do those things, you won't get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, they always say a network is your net worth. So it's important. It's important that you network and you be able to value that network and also be able to attain from that network, benefit from that network. Yeah.
Superb. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today, Joshua. It's been amazing. And if you've enjoyed this and want to hear the rest of our stories, or if you're interested in studying in the UK, please visit our website, swansea.ac.uk/international.